and welcome back on my channel. So if you're new here, my name is Catherine, and on this channel I talk about being child favorite choice, I talk about living an intentional life, and I talk about other topics I find interesting. So if that sounds good to you, remember to subscribe down below. And going into the video, what I want to talk about today is that I made a post where I asked the people who watch my channel if they have any questions for me, so anything they want to know about me. And I got 2 people who commented questions, so I just want to answer your questions today. So the first question I got was, what are some of your favorite YouTubers to watch or favorite shows? Love your videos. So if we start out with some of my favorite YouTubers. So I'm the kind of person who does not like watch a channel for a long time. There's very few channels where I come back to them. So one of the channels I definitely come back to a lot of the time would be Good Mythical Morning. I just really love those 2 guys, and I just think that a lot of the videos I actually really like. And then I really also love watching Mattos Ken and Buff Pro make videos together, because I just think they're 2 down-to-earth guys. So I really like watching them. I just think, again, there's just something about it I really like. But when it comes to these 2 channels, they make a lot of the same kind of content. Other channels I do not watch like for a longer period of time. I watch them for a while and then I come back to them. What I really do not like personally is when YouTubers just do the same and the same and the same. So if they're a reaction channel and they basically only react to the same thing, they're not a channel that I will watch all the time. I'll watch them for a period and then I'll come back to them. So I actually like more channels where there's more diversity and they do different kind of things, but I think those channels are kind of hard to find. That's also why I do not just talk about one topic, because if I just talk about one topic, personally I think that would be too boring. I think I would get bored of making the videos if I only talked about one thing. And I think there's people out there just like me who get bored of watching a YouTuber who just does the same thing over and over again. Kind of gets old pretty quickly. But I'm just going to actually go into YouTube account, my personal account, just to see what kind of YouTubers I'm actually following right now, because I know there's probably some YouTubers I actually watch a lot, which names I cannot remember. So I'm just going to go into my channel and see. Oh yeah, I actually forgot, but I absolutely love Jackson Galaxy. So he's a cat expert who has his own show, My Cat from Hell, and he has his own YouTube channel, and I just absolutely love him. I just think he's so good around cats, and you can really learn a lot from him. And often it, just like any other show, if it's with Victoria Stilwell, with dogs, I also love watching her. But if it's Victoria Stilwell, for example, when she has to go out in her show and help people who have problems with the dogs, often it's actually people who have the problems and not the animals. It's like, for example, with Jackson Galaxy, there's only very few cases like where it's not the people that is actually something wrong with, it's the pet itself, because maybe it has something mentally wrong with it, and of course it can be hard for our owners to know stuff like that. So, but in most cases, just the owners that should just have known their basic stuff about cats, and they do not know that. So he just goes in and teaches them the basic stuff about cats. And in other cases, it's more extreme, where the owners couldn't really know it themselves, and where he actually goes in as an expert and helps them. I actually also watch First We Feast, Hot Ones sometimes. The last one I watched was with Margot Robbie, the actor who was in Birds of Prey. She's an amazing Harley Quinn. I never want to watch anybody else act as Harley Quinn in a movie. I just think she's absolutely amazing. So that's just some of the YouTube channels I like, or some of the YouTubers I really like to watch. So that's just some of the example of my favorite YouTubers or favorite YouTube channels I really like to watch. But going into the second part of her question, my favorite shows. So I love watching anime. My favorite anime is definitely Inuyasha. I don't really have favorites very often, but I really love Inuyasha. But if you're talking like shows, so typical TV series, what I really like is stuff like Supernatural and Doctor Who and Torchwood. So I'm a bit of a fangirl, you can say. But I also like stuff like New Girl, for example. I also like Sherlock. I also think that was a great series. So yeah, I am kind of a fangirl a little bit. I'm the kind of person, if I really like something, I really get absorbed into it. So, for example, we were just in the theater and we watched Megan. I really like the kind of horror movie that Megan is, because I do not like the typical horror movies where it's just about scaring you and about showing you a lot of gross people who have been killed and all that, and there's not a deeper meaning in it. But when it comes to movies like Megan, it's more like they do not show you more than they need to for you to understand what is happening, and there's a deeper meaning behind it. And it's not just about scaring you and showing you gross things. So I really like movies like that, and I just think Megan was a really great movie. We were also in the theater a while back watching Old. I think that movie again was the kind of horror movie I like, but you know, it had a great concept, but it was just not done in a good way. So it's just an okay movie, it's not a good movie, which I would think was kind of sad, because if they just made it in a different way, it had the potential to be a great movie. But I just want to say thank you, Herbal Monsoon, for the questions, and I'm so happy that you love my videos. I really appreciate having you here, and thank you so much for being curious and asking me some questions. I really appreciate it. I hope me answering these questions just got you to know a little bit more about me. And if you have further questions for me, please comment them down below or on the post. I would love to do another video, because I'm the kind of person who can answer 1 or 2 questions and then like take almost 10 minutes answering them. If you ask me about stuff like this, I'm pretty talkative, so I'm gonna give you an in-depth answer. So the second person, I'm very curious where she's from, because her last name kind of indicates that she might be from Germany. So I'm just really curious about that. So can you comment down below in the comment section where you're from? Yeah, maybe you might be from Scandinavia or Germany, so please comment down below. So her first question is, how do you like living in Denmark? What do you like about it? What do you dislike about it? So I'm a pessimist at heart. I'm a just pessimistic person, because I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than having high hopes and then be disappointed. So it's really, really hard, because there's of course some things I like about my country, but at the moment the place it's at is just, I think, really bad, because the politicians we have that kind of controls our country, they're not that good, and usually they are just not that good. Usually the people who end up controlling our country, they're not that good. Like, it's just clear from what kind of laws they make and the differences they make in our country that they do not know what they're talking about. Like, some of them haven't even like worked before in their life. So basically they do not know what they're talking about, and that's kind of the scary part for me, that they do not know what they're talking about. So one example right now of what's happening in my country could be that right now the farmers are having a really, really hard time, both those who grow crops and those who have, you know, animals that produce milk and so on. So they both have a really, really hard time, because all the focus on the climate change and all the bad effects of CO2 and all this, they have just made the farmers to like be the worst, one of the worst when it comes to climate change. And I just think this is really, really wrong, because what's happening right now is a lot of people just blame the farmers for all this. So right now the politicians are kind of undermining the farmers, because the farmers already have just had a hard time for a long while. There's just like so many rules So the farmers are basically not really allowed to use any kind of insecticides, chemical sprays, fertilizers, and so on. They don't really have a lot of these left that they are allowed to use anymore, because it's bad for, you know, the water and all that. But it's just also really hard for farmers, because if you want something that is good quality that humans also actually can eat, you have to use some of all this stuff. Like, we want the things that we produce in Denmark to be like really good for the environment, but then on the other hand, because it has to be so good for the environment, what the farmers produce are really low quality, so it's not even all the time that it gets used for humans. A lot of the times we actually import stuff because that's better quality. So it's just like this double moral when it comes to the farmers just in general, and because they want some kind of CO2 taxes to be on the farmers, and they already have like a billion taxes. And because they want this on the farmers now, a lot of the farmers are not able to survive. So within a few years, when these taxes have arrived, they will go under, and then we have to import most of our food. So what I want to say about Denmark right now is that the people controlling this country is right now, they are undermining it. And by the way, I know all this about farmers and all that because I have a really smart father-in-law who is a farmer. But the thing that I like about Denmark, I have to say, is I really like that we have this security net. So stuff like going to the doctor and going to the hospital is free because we all pay taxes. So you don't have to pay anything when you go to the hospital or the primary doctor. There's still, of course, a lot of things you have to pay for, like the dentist. I think when you're over 21, they have just changed it. When you're over 21 years old, you have to pay for that. And if you're not able to get a psychologist for free, you of course have to pay for that. And if you can get it free and how long you can get a psychologist free and all that depends on where you are. So one of the really bad things about Denmark are, again, that it's really different what kind of help you can get depending on where you're living. So I can't really get any help for my mental illness that I do not have to pay for. And if I can get it, it's very limited. Like, I've gotten 10 sessions with a psychologist, so it's really limited. But again, if I lived in another city, I might be able to get free psychology help for years. So it's really, that's one of the things I do not like about my country either. It really depends on where you are, how good an amount of help you can get. And right now, even that system is being undermined right now, because a lot of the nurses are really flocking away from the hospitals because they're just, the work environment is just really bad and they do not get it paid enough. So a lot of the nurses actually in Denmark, they're flocking to Norway because they want better work environments, and they want to be paid more. So it's just like, our politicians are just really undermining our country right now, so that it's really hard to watch, and we just have way too many laws in Denmark. So there are definitely good things. I'm really happy about the security net we have here in Denmark. That's one thing I'm really happy about, but I really hate how our own politicians are kind of undermining that. They're just undermining everything that is good in this country. And yeah, that's actually what I think right now of my country. So I'm kind of afraid what the future holds. I'm also afraid because in Denmark we do not really have a military that can withstand if somebody went into war with us. If somebody just wanted to go into war with us, we would be dead in a very short amount of time, simply because we just do not have what everybody else have when it comes to the military. So with what is happening in the world right now, I'm really afraid about that. Again, if I have to say something positive, I know I've said a lot of negative stuff. I am a pessimistic person, but what I really like about Denmark is we have beautiful nature. Some places like an island called Samsø, especially in the summer. I also really like that you know what is in the stuff in Denmark. So for example, if you want to eat healthier, there's certain labels you can see on the food indicating that it's a healthier choice. So stuff like that I really like. And I really like that you have the safety net where you can go to the doctor for free and hospital for free. There's just a lot of things that needs to get better in my country, but there's definitely also some things that I like about my country. So it's kind of a mixed opinion, but in general I'm just avoiding the news right now about my country because I think the news in general is just really negative, and I just don't wanna be filled with negative feelings because I'm watching the news or reading it. And I just think there's so many bad things happening in my country right now because the people controlling the country right now can basically do whatever they want. So from big parties, like they can go over the top of the head of the normal people right now, and they're kind of putting things in place the normal citizens are really against, but they're doing it nonetheless. So it isn't really a nice situation right now for my country, but I hope it really gets better. I don't really have a choice saying that because the people I vote for never are the ones that are controlling the country, so I'm sad about that. But yeah, I vote nonetheless, but then other people gets voted in, and then that is going to have power. How does your diagnosis you talked about in your videos affect your day-to-day life? So if you do not know it, just to anybody else watching, if you're new here, I have a schizotypical personality disorder, or a schizotypical disorder on the schizophrenia spectrum. It has different names. It is a diagnosis that very few people have, and it's a very new diagnosis, so we do not know a lot about it. I think it would be easier actually almost making a video about this, how my diagnosis affects my daily life, just because it affects me in a lot of ways. So I would actually just love to do a video at some time where I just answer that question alone and go more into depth with it. So right now I'm just going to answer it pretty quickly. So one thing that is really hard for me because I have this diagnosis is just day-to-day things. So day-to-day things take a lot of energy from me. So it could be taking a shower. Like that just takes energy from me. So I think that is one big thing. But I also deal with a lot of anxiety. So for example, if I have a meeting I have to go to, I overthink it way beforehand and I just expect the worst. So just being outside also really takes a lot of energy from me, because also everything happening around me, I cannot filter that through like a normal person would. So things like sounds and smells and all that really affects me a lot, and that also takes a lot of my energy. For example, just going out to do that weekly grocery shopping can just be really hard on me. Sometimes I almost have a meltdown in the store because there's just so much happening around me, and grocery stores for some reason really like changing where their things are, so that just makes it harder for me. And if there's a lot of people, a lot of noises, and if I have a day where I already have a really low energy, it affects me a lot. I also have some borderline psychosis symptoms, like, I don't know what it's called in English actually, but it's this feeling of everything being unreal. So again, this is a borderline psychosis symptom where it just feels like everything happening around me is not real. It's almost like I'm dreaming. I can't really focus on anything. It's like I put myself out of the situation, so I can't focus on it, and it seems unreal. I just have to sum it up. If stuff changes in my life, if stuff stresses me in life, if there's some kind of conflict where I feel like I'm not good enough, I can get meltdowns. And these are depressive meltdowns where I feel like everything is just bad. Luckily, I have like medicine for that is calming on me and stops my thoughts, so I do not keep being in that state. But if I'm in that state for a longer period of time, I get really, really depressive, and that's really not that good. The kind of depression I get is not like the typical depression that you can get medicine for. It's another kind of depression, but it's still depression. I deal a lot with anxiety. I deal with some psychotic symptoms. I have a lot of symptoms in common with autism. There's just a lot of things that makes up what I have to fight with, but I would really love making a video just answering this question actually, because I think it's a great question. So I'm going to go more into depth with this in another video, just how my disorder affects me on a daily basis, because it affects me like a lot. I like writing things down. That's just the way I am best at expressing myself. So I could like write, I don't know how many word pages just about the symptoms I'm dealing with. I think I wrote like 10 word pages just alone on all the symptoms I have that reminds me of autism, or that has a lot in common with autism. But that is typical for my diagnosis, because I met a person who was diagnosed with autism before they was diagnosed with this disorder. I have the schizotypical disorder. It really varies from person to person what you have to fight with, so this is just some of what I have to fight with. But I'm going to make a video just answering this question, so this video doesn't go like way too long. It's already pretty long. I hope you appreciate that I'm going into like depth with answering your questions. The next question is, what seasons of the year do you like best? I am more of a summer or fall, winter person. We have 4 seasons in my country. We have all 4 seasons in my country. So I don't really know if I have a favorite season. I have a favorite type of weather. So in my country it rains a lot, it's windy a lot, and it's just cloudy and moody outside a lot of the times. I really just like that. I like it when it's not too hot and not too cold and it's not rainy, and you just get happy by going outside. So I guess if I have to put that on a season, that would probably be like spring or summer, I think, if I had to like say a season, because it's just when the weather is just right and you get happy. When you're outside, you're not like freezing and you're not sweating, and it's just like that perfect kind of weather, and it's not moody outside. The sun is shining, but not shining too brightly, just shining a little bit, and you know, you can see all the things like blooming and all the different smells from flowers and everything blooming outside. So I just really love those 2 seasons, when they're like the right kind of weather in between those 2 seasons, because I hate when summer is ultra bright outside and it's ultra hot. I hate that. I just think like the perfect middle ground for me personally, if it's 18 degrees Celsius, it's already hot. But yeah, it really depends. So yeah, I'm really the person who hates like winter and when it's dark outside and all that, and when it's really cold, I hate that. But I love walking in the snow. I really just love the sound of just snow crumbling underneath your feet. I just think if it is really cold, there needs to be snow. I think there's different things from each season I like. I also really like fall, because I think it's just so pretty when all the leaves are falling and they're all these kind of different colors. And I put decor up when we get to autumn. I just really think that autumn is pretty with all its colors, but if I have to say like an ultimate favorite, it definitely is spring and summer. So those are 2 seasons I like the most, simply because it just makes you happy when it's a little bit warmer outside and everything is blooming and people are just outside and they're more happy, and it makes you more happy to be in spring and summer than it makes me to be in autumn and winter. So the person has also written, hope those are not too personal. If so, I completely understand. Thank you for videos. I really enjoy watching them. Have a nice day. So I hope you had a nice day too. And you don't have to worry if they're too personal. I will just not answer them. I don't think they were like too personal. I just want to say thank you so much for being on my channel and watching my videos. And I'm so happy that you really enjoy watching my videos. I really enjoy having you here, and I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate you being so curious and asking me these kind of questions. I love these kind of questions because then I open up a little more to you, and then you get to know me a little better, and it's just nice to know a little about content creator, because you feel like you're getting closer to them when you get to know something about them, and you get to know something about the personality. It also makes it easier to see if there's someone you want to support or not. For me personally, it has a personality where I like treat all people bad, or just a personality I do not really like. I do not want to support them even if I like their videos. So yeah guys, this was definitely a longer video, but I really hope that you appreciated it, and I really hope that the people who also wrote these questions got something out of this video. I would love to do more of these videos again in the future, and if you have any more questions for me, you can comment down below, or you can comment on the post I made about things you want to know about me. So yeah guys, really just hope you appreciated this video, and if you have not already, please remember to subscribe and like and comment down below and all the good stuff that helps my channel. And thank you so much for being here and watching. I'll see you soon in another video. Bye guys!